guys, ASD Classified here, and I'm gonna do a review of the premiere of Dino Supercharge, When Evil Rises. Okay, so this episode apparently takes place weeks after the Dino Charge finale. So, Sledge's ship, it went crashing to Earth, right? It blew up and then the wreckage crash landed in some random forest, right? So the wreckage has been sitting in this random forest for weeks, right? And we learned that Sledge is dead. Yes, Sledge, he is really dead. Now, I didn't think that Sledge was going to be dead. I had just assumed that Sledge and his people were going to escape the ship at the last minute and that Sledge left all the prisoners to their own fate. That's what I assumed was going to happen. And I thought, we were going to have two different villain factions in this season, like Sledge and his people, and then the rest of the prisoners and stuff with Heckle and whatever. That's what I assumed was going to happen. Oh no, I couldn't be more wrong here. So, Sledge is dead, right? So, I don't know if he's going to remain dead because the villains do have that reanimator, but for now, Sledge is dead. Sledge is the only one in the ship that died. That is just awful. He is the only one that died. Need I remind you all that all of the main villains were in the control room when Sledge's ship went down? But Sledge is the only one that died. Curio is still alive. Posandra is still alive. Fury is alive. Wrench is alive. Vivix are alive. Sledge is the only one that died. That is awful. That is so wrong. Like, I have to take some cool points from Sledge for this. Like, how are you the only one? How? I don't even understand, but okay. It's alright, because Sledge's death leads to a much cooler villain, really, so yay! So this episode is pretty much about Heckle's rise to power. Yes, Heckle is the head guy in charge now. He is in charge of all of Sledge's minions, and he's in charge of all the monster prisoners that were in the ship. He's in charge. He is the new head bad guy that the Rangers have to fight and worry about. And let's talk about the Rangers real quick. What they've been up to during these weeks since the Rangers defeated Sledge. So, Tyler is off doing his own thing, looking for his daddy still. Chase is in New Zealand. Riley is back on his family's farm working with pig shit. And Shelby, my girl Shelby has decided to go to school. She's decided to go to college, rather. My girl is doing it big, yes. So I guess after the finale, Shelby spent her time with Tyler, right? I'm sure she rocked his world a bit. I know she rocked his world a bit. So, and after that, she decided, you know what? I need to go to college. I need to get my degree, But after I got my degree and established myself and become successful, I'll look you up, Tyler. I'm assuming that's what happened, right? So, yes. Shelby, she is in college right now, right? And she has a major. She's a business major, but she's not sure that this is what she really wants to do. She is only a business major because her parents want her to be a business major. Her parents feel like this is the best major for her, even though she clearly has doubts about this. I mean, Shelby is the die know-it-all. So clearly, obviously, if she's going to be going to school for something, it probably should be paleontology, right? But her family feels that she should be a business major. So I already know how the conversation between Shelby and her parents went. I already know. Like, okay, that's fine that you like dinosaurs and shit, but paleontology is not going to pay the bills around here. So, yeah. That's how that conversation went. I already know. But yeah, so Shelby, she's in school right now, and we actually met Shelby's daddy in this episode. So her dad is the same guy who played Colonel Truman in Power Rangers RPM. And it was nice to see him, and I believe we're going to see him some more in this season, which is cool. I like that actor, and I like the characters he played. I'm just wondering if we could get him to play a completely different character in Dino Charge. How come he couldn't come back in Super Mega Force for the RPM tribute episode? I'm just whatever. Okay. But yeah, enough about the Rangers. Let's go back to the real star of this show, Heckle. So yeah, after the weeks of just sitting around in Sledge's ship, Heckle finally breaks out of his holding cell, right? But he's not in his human form. He's in his monster form. And the monster form is named Snide. Now, Heckle and Snide are not exactly the same beings. They have two different personalities. Really, it's like two people in one body, right? So we have Heckle the human, then we have Snide the monster, right? And Heckle is he's more refined, he's more cultured, while Snide is more uncouth. So yeah, Snide was the one that broke out of the cell, and then Snide turned back into Heckle. And Heckle pretty much told everybody, yeah, I'm in charge. You all now work for me, you know? And he was like, everyone who remains in this ship has to pledge their undying loyalty to me. But if you don't want to be a part of this good and evil fight and stuff, you are free to leave. You are free to go, you know? And one monster said, you know what? Peace out, player. I'm not about this life. I'm about to leave. But, you know, good luck in your endeavors. I'll send you a postcard. I'm out. Yeah, so this one monster decided that he was going to leave. And Heckle killed him. Heckle killed this poor monster with his lightning powers. And Heckle looked pretty badass when he did it. Like, you could see the anger in Heckle's face while he shot that lightning out of his finger. I loved it. So after Heckle killed this dumb monster, Heckle was like, so, he would have been the first one to betray us. And we know what happens to traitors now, don't we? It's like, oh my god. Everybody else was in that ship like, okay, this motherfucker is crazy. Alright. So yeah, Heckle is our lord and master now, and he also wants the inner gems. So Heckle sends a monster to deal with the Rangers, and the monster is Ice Age. Yes, they used this ice monster again, but technically the Rangers didn't destroy the monster in the last episode it was in. The last episode being episode 17, world famous in New Zealand. So yes, Ice Age attacks the Rangers, and he ends up freezing most of them. The only Rangers that remained unfrozen was Tyler and Coda. The monster didn't even bother going after Prince Philip. I guess because the villains think that Prince Philip is unimportant. I don't know. I couldn't disagree with them, so okay. So yeah, Tyler and Coda are the ones that end up saving their fellow Rangers. And then all of the Rangers, they morph together, you know, Miss Morgan getting into action as the Purple Ranger, you know. So yeah, all of the Rangers, minus Prince Philip, because what does he actually do? So all of the Rangers, you know, they engage Ice Age and they engage Snide in battle. And the Rangers end up killing Ice Age. I don't know if for good because they keep bringing this monster back. But yes, the Rangers end up killing this monster again. And they win, you know, monster extinct. Yeah, right? And at the end of this episode, all the Rangers, you know, they meet up at their base. Prince Philip finally decides to show up for work. And then all the Rangers and Keeper, they discuss, you know, we need to find the Aqua Energem. We need to find the Aqua Ranger because we know that the Energem is already bonded to somebody. And we need to find the Silver Energem, which is the last remaining Energem, right? We need to do this shit now, and we also got to kill the new villain that's out there, blah, blah, blah. You know, yeah, Rangers, you know, we come together, yeah, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I like this episode a lot. One of the biggest flaws of this episode is pretty much, it's the same flaws in the finale of Dino Charge. It's just that the Rangers retired in the Dino Charge finale. Like, they retired. Most of them went back to their regular lives. The only ones that didn't go back to their regular lives were Miss Morgan, Coda, and Sir Ivan, because they were the remaining Rangers that were going to look for the final two Energems. But the rest of them retired. They left their energems in the base. Like, they weren't Power Rangers anymore, technically. But they retired because they thought they had beat Sledge. And the only reason they thought they had defeated Sledge is because his ship crashed. They didn't bother to actually check the ship to make sure that Sledge was dead, because if they had actually checked the ship, I mean, yeah, they probably would have found out that, yeah, Sledge is dead, but they would have saw all the hundreds of other monsters that are very much alive in that ship. And that's what I'm saying. Just because Sledge is dead, why did the Rangers retire? One monster is dead. He was the leader, but there are other monsters in that ship. And just because you kill the leader, that doesn't mean that number 2 won't step up and become the new number 1. It's just stupid logic. The Rangers are kind of stupid for just giving up their Ranger powers when there are still evil villains. They're stupid for retiring, and they're stupid for not checking the wreckage of that ship. I don't even know how it didn't cross their mind to check the wreckage of that ship. It's annoying, and it was a big problem in the finale, and it's kind of a problem that crossed over to this episode too. It's just a big old black spot that I couldn't ignore. But aside from that, I really enjoyed everything else about this episode. Heckle is such a good villain. And I'm glad he's in charge. Like, it's a humanoid villain, and he has this other personality that's inside him, his monster personality. I like this. I really do like this, and I can't wait to see more of this in this season. So yeah, good premiere. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. So, for those who are watching this review, what did you think of episode 1 of Dino Super Charge? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was meh? Let me know in a comment if you would be so kind. Alright, later you guys. Jamata. One more thing, you guys. I can't believe I even forgot about this. I have to talk about how Heckle is like worming his way into the Rangers' lives. I have to talk about this. So, because most of the Rangers have retired and are doing their own thing, right? Miss Morgan needs more people to help at that Dino Cafe in the museum. She needs more waiters, right? So she's looking to hire more people. And one of the people that was looking for a job was Heckle, right? You know? And Miss Morgan hired Heckle because Heckle saved her life in one of the other episodes, right? So, yeah, Heckle now works for Miss Morgan as a waiter. He has put himself in a position where he can get to know the Rangers more. He could kill them. He could find their base easily. Like, Heckle is a real go-getter. He's a really active villain. He's more active than Sledge ever was. So, I like that. I, for one, am glad that Miss Morgan does not discriminate, you know, in the hiring process. Like, she doesn't care if you have blue highlights in your hair, and she doesn't care about a weird, probably demonic tattoo on your neck. Like, you know, that doesn't concern her when it comes to hiring a waiter, you know. And I'm being serious. I'm glad, you know, it shouldn't matter, you know. So, kudos to Miss Morgan. Oh, one more thing. I also forgot to talk about Coda, because he had a little character thing in this episode. Just a little bit. Like, we learn how Coda, I guess, became a Power Ranger, how he met the team, right? So, you know, back 100,000 years ago, he was fighting with a saber-tooth tiger, and he ended up frozen from the elements at the time, you know, So, 100,000 years later, explorers discovered Coda as he was frozen. Those explorers were Miss Morgan and Chase. And Miss Morgan and Chase were the ones who thawed out Coda, and that's how he became a part of the team. And ever since then, Coda has had this fear of ice, and it kind of came forward in this episode dealing with this ice monster that froze most of his friends, and he kind of had to overcome it to fight the monster, and I like that. And I like at the end of the episode, Coda was like, you know, I thought that ice was my worst fear, but it turns out my worst fear is losing my new family, you know, and that was cute. I really like that, and that is why Coda is like probably my favorite Dino Charge Ranger. Like, he just has a lot of heart, and I like it. So yeah, that's it, you guys. For real, later. Jamat.